Hey everyone, and welcome back to Token Talk. Now today I wanted to talk about Virtuals protocol because it's really interesting, and I think it really could be like the next Pump.Fun. We have a lot of data to kind of back that claim up already, so I want to go over that with you today, talk a little bit more about what it is, what it does, how to get involved, all of that type of stuff. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive right in. So starting out, looking at the overall market, we can see everything is kind of down today. This is due to some less than positive news coming from the U.S. Treasury. They dropped rates today, but signaled that in 2025 they're actually planning to drop rates less than what kind of everybody had even expected to be kind of like the bad scenario. So things moving down pretty decently all throughout the crypto market. This actually also did happen through the U.S. equities market as well. So this is not just limited to crypto. We just typically only focus on crypto on the channel, which is why everything looks so red. We can see virtuals here at down 6.5% on the day. So obviously not great, but we're going to look at the chart and we can see that it's okay, right? I mean, they've basically been up only ever since they've released. Things have been looking absolutely insane. Basically, if we take a look at like the price movement from, let's just say like the 14th of October, we could see from bottom to top, almost to 60x. So like pretty crazy stuff that's going on here. We have seen a pretty decent move to the downside since we did see that top out, looking at about 27%. But again, after you've made a 60x, coming down 27%, definitely not the end of the world if you ask me. But overall, looking at this chart, I mean, obviously you can kind of see why we'd want to look a little bit further into this, because it's done very well, and it's actually on a bit of a decent pullback. We can see potentially a level of support here. I mean, honestly, the chart's kind of blown up so much. There's not really a whole bunch of like technical analysis to be had here, but we could use Fibonacci's, I suppose, but that's not really the point of today's video. This is to talk more about the Virtuals protocol itself. But basically what we're seeing is this, we could be finding some level of support here. If we don't, I'm imagining we'll probably come back down to this $1.80 range. If we did make it back to this range, I might be looking to get in on this one, just because we'll look at some more information here in a second, but things looking really quite compelling for Virtuals protocol. We can see here, this is a tweet from hitesh.eth. Virtual has achieved perfect demand-led flywheel effect. New AI agent creators require a certain amount of Virtual to be locked up in LPs for 10 years. Around 1% of the total supply is locked right now. Again, this is still, I would call like a somewhat under the radar type of project. Obviously, it's seen massive gains, but it is only at this point about a $2-ish billion market cap. I think it might be closer to 2.5, but still relatively small, depending on like some of the like larger things that we have seen going into this bull run. So we haven't seen a ton of buzz around the Virtuals protocol, at least from what I've been seeing, but we can see they've generated over $43 million in revenue in the past 2 months, with an average daily revenue of about $500,000 a day. Absolutely insane stuff that they're doing here. A total of 11,248 agents have been launched so far, with a daily average of the current month around 200 agents. Now, initiatives like Agent Start and the game framework could spark more interest in the new agent creation on the platform, which could help the protocol generate more revenue. This would drive more demand for the token from the agentic economy, eventually reflecting in its price action as well. We can see this was posted yesterday, so relatively new information overall here. But I mean, obviously we can see some absolutely insane numbers coming out of Virtuals protocol, and I think kind of for good reason, right? I mean, we can see these agents, some of them like actually like really doing stuff. Luna has been one that's caught, I would say, a decent bit of like mainstream attention. It runs its own Twitter account. There's a lot of like concern that maybe this is just like a human LARPing as AI, but at least from what we can tell from within like the Virtuals protocol, you can actually go and like look in like, I guess, the back door. I forget what they call it exactly. We are able to see that like it is actually AI doing this type of stuff, and it's not just like some charade or some mirage that makes it just look like AI is actually doing this. It is actually AI. And so I think a lot of what at least I'm particularly looking to see, and I would imagine maybe the kind of wider market as a whole, I think a lot of what we're looking to see is what are the real like utilities and value of some of these coins. I know we've heard some from like the Truth Terminal called Goatseus Maximus, got about a 50x or so on that. I think we're starting to look for some of these AI agents having access to their own wallets and being able to like essentially make their own trades, because something with like Virtuals protocol, one of the cornerstones of Virtuals protocols, you can essentially buy into these agents and like essentially earn returns off of whatever they do, right? So for example, there was one I was actually looking through the other day in prototype agents. We'll get rid of the Phantom wallet. Let's see if I can find it here real quick. but it was a fitness trainer agent. Oh, here it is, the AI coach. And so this I thought was pretty interesting because this coach is essentially like giving people fitness advice through this like terminal overall, which I think is pretty interesting. But the way I'm looking at this is like a possible investment, right? Is if I, were to help essentially like release this AI and make it like its own like sentient like AI agent, you could potentially set this up as like a fitness coach app or a fitness coach website. Maybe people are paying monthly subscriptions or something like that for the advice that this AI agent is offering, and then you as an owner could be able to be a beneficiary of essentially the returns that are generated by these types of AI agents. This to me is a super, super compelling argument. I think it makes a ton of sense. I think this is something that really could see a whole bunch of people jumping into, both speculators that I think are fairly common in crypto already, as well as some of the more like traditional finance fundamentalist type investors that are looking for like essentially return on investment type of prospects. A lot of what we see in crypto so far isn't really super like ROI heavy. It's more of like, well, if I buy this and somebody else buys it for more, then the price will go up, right? That is like a very loose way to like determine ROI, but a lot of like what traditional finance investors are looking for is like, what's the free cash flow, what's the like, earnings before interest, depreciation, amortization, what's the net income, all of that type of stuff. That's what they're looking for. And so if you can have some sort of technology that's able to essentially generate its own income and then distribute it out to the holders of the owners of that AI agent, then that to me is like, that's a really interesting and compelling thing that like we could see. Also, it turns into more of an investment, right? Because if this AI coach is earning $100,000 a month this month and I buy into it, I'm essentially trading on some multiple of that, right? But if in a year from now it's earning $1 million a month, I'm obviously earning from my percentage share of ownership 10x what I was last year. And so obviously if I'm wanting to sell that, it's likely going to be much more valuable. And so there's a lot of really interesting things here in the Virtuals protocol, a lot of really interesting things. If you guys want to come and like take a look through all of these different AI agents, there's a very wide array of things here and what they're using, all this type of stuff. We can see game and prefrontal cortex convo agent are the ones with the most inferences, so I'm assuming they're the most widely used. If you click into them, you can kind of see where their agent actually shows up. You can see here it's available at 163 different apps. So I think that kind of makes sense as to why it's getting so many like inference uses and whatnot. Really, really interesting overall. So also if you are interested in trading, virtuals, Bitcoin, altcoins, whatever, we do have that link to BITUNIX in the link in the description below. So if you are interested, feel free to go on ahead and get signed up there. Overall, as far as virtuals are concerned, I think it's a really, really kind of compelling project. I'm personally not necessarily looking into buy right now just because of the massive run up it's seen. I do think if we see it come back to that like 150, 180 range, like we were looking back in the chart earlier, I might be quite interested. Overall, not financial advice. You need to make your own decisions, and who knows, maybe this is the bottom and we'll never see $2.40 again or whatever. Hard to say for sure. But overall, if you did find the information in this video useful, please do give us a like and subscribe because it really, really does help us out. Also, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything, just try and leave those in the comment section below. I do try to read all of them. I haven't really been able to respond to all of them recently, but I do try to at least read all of them and address them in future videos if there is something that you guys have questions on or whatnot. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.